I'd like to share a vivid childhood memory with you. My dad's old work truck had broken down and he was peering under the hood into the depths of the dirty, oily engine. I pulled a chair up next to him and asked if I could hold his flashlight. I kept getting distracted and the beam of light would go somewhere other than where he needed it. And he would say, "Jody, shine the light over here where I'm working." It was important for me to be focused and intentional with the light. The light is what lets us see the map. Our treasure map is our natal birth chart. Our soul created its own natal birth chart as it traveled and journeyed throughout the cosmos. Lifetimes and experiences are found there and meant to lead you to your treasure now in this life. My mystical quest begins on July 13th in the shade of the redwood forest. Tragedy struck, and a member of our tribe had passed away. Iris was my mother's good friend and the mother of my dearest playmate, Lily. At Iris's funeral, everyone I cared for was inconsolable. The thick energy of grief surrounded my mother, and my little friend suffered from tummy aches and tension knots. And I felt sadness, but mostly I felt shame that I could not relate to them. I could not feel their volatile emotions, and I could not help them. For years, I would carry this shame of July 13th long into adulthood, remembering it year after year. And years later, on July 13th, I said vows in the mountains of Utah, hoping that a marriage vow would help heal my broken heart and unite my broken family. Moments after the vows were said on July 13th, my teenage daughters came to me and let me know that I would no longer be their primary parent. So once again, July 13th was racked and marked by young people who needed their mother and by adults who couldn't regulate their emotions. So I went to therapy. I got a divorce, and my children, with the help of my family and tribe, became loving and kind adults. And many years later, I found myself again on July 13th, standing with pen in hand next to my new husband and the love of my life, about to sign closing documents for a home in Texas. I was about to sign my name when I saw the date above the signature line, July 13th, and I hesitated. But I had been doing the work, and I had been doing the shadow work, and I had been listening to the still small voice within that had been saying the same thing all year. Look at the chart. Look at the transits. That's where you'll find your answers. So I hesitated no longer, promptly signed the closing documents, and went home to cast the natal chart. And to my astonishment, I realized that every year on July 13th, the sun was aligned to the 20th degree of Cancer, which is right where I have my natal moon and my natal Mars. I suddenly realized that this date was not one to be stifled and feared, that this was a mystical quest, that the sun was intentionally shining its light on this area of my chart that had to do with emotions and actions and nurturing and mothering and conflict. It was shining its light intentionally, lighting up this part of my chart like a Christmas tree. This realization of the importance of the transiting sun marked the beginning of my mystical quest to align the data of my Birth Chart, my treasure map with the calendar year and my day-to-day life. So every year on July 13th, the sun is lighting up this area of my natal chart that's occupied by these two planets. And in galactic astrology, the stars that are aligned to your moon in your chart is where you learned about your emotions and nurturing that's influencing your emotional mind now and your emotional needs now. And the star systems that are aligned to your Mars are where you experienced lifetimes of your soul's truest passions and desires. And the lifetimes on that star system in Mars are also where you would learn the stamina and drive needed to fulfill the desires that your soul had for this lifetime as well. For example, the star aligned to the 20th degree of Cancer, where my moon and Mars are, is the bright star Castor in the constellation of the twins, Gemini. Castor is a complex multi-star system whose plasma bodies work together to organize the data in the brain from the right side to the left side. This integrative energy of Castor reminds me of the energy of Crab, who uses all of the data of the ocean to understand the tides. It moves with the lower tide onto shore to collect its nutrients, and then without much drama, even though the ocean is very dramatic, Crab moves back into the sea. Castor is known in mythology as one who is good with horses. Castor was the mortal of the twin, and he had exceptional skill at taming wild beasts. He would connect his frequency to the wild animals, and soon they would be eating out of his hand. Castor is the 44th brightest star in the night sky and can be viewed easily unaided by the human eye. It's important, I think, to remember that the very bright stars and deep sky objects glow not only with plasma and gas and space dust, but they shine with the energy of love for humanity. The stars, like our sun, are conscious beings who are beaming their life light towards us without fail, day in and day out, all year long. This energy of Castor can stimulate brain activity that organizes, alchemizes, and makes sense of the data around us. Castor, who is sometimes also referred to as Apollo in legend, doesn't make you more logical per se, but this type of light enhances our ability to synthesize and harmonize the vibrations around your inner knowing, putting your knowledge in order that can be understood and utilized by you. Castor's influence helps bridge that gap between intuition and logic. So by tapping into Castor's energy, especially on July 13th, we can find a sense of order around life's events. The ability to logically and intuitively process my emotions, much like how Castor would tame the wild beasts, was the treasure that I had been longing for all those years ago, sitting in the shade of the redwoods. It was the treasure that I had been reaching for on the mountains, devastated by my own choices. By the time that July 13th, 2024 rolled around, I was ready. It was my intention to connect with my own soul's history through the light of the sun and Castor on July 13th. I wrote an appointment in my date book. I looked up every piece of information that I could find about Castor and recorded it. I had so many pictures of Castor that you would think he was my teenage heartthrob. I was intent on connecting with this energy when it was strongest as the sun was shining on it. I awaited my marching orders with pen and paper, ready for my download, and that's when I heard it. 3 words that sounded like my voice, but they were not my voice. And they said, "Finish Cosmic Connections." And I laughed out loud because Cosmic Connections was a pet name that I had given a galactic desk reference that I had been creating for the last 8 months to use in my own practice. At the time that I heard those 3 words uttered on July 13th, "Finish Cosmic Connections," I had been working for a popular psychic hotline giving instant galactic readings. The app user would submit their question to the psychic, and using their natal birth chart, I would, in 60 minutes or less, give a galactic reading to the person instantly. And what this did was become a perfect way for me to get feedback on the galactic energies that I was uh, aligning to their natal birth chart. And it worked swimmingly. But when I heard these words, I knew that its trial period was over and that somehow Cosmic Connections had something to do with the way that I nurture myself and the way that I nurture others. Not only that, but Cosmic Connections also had something to do with the deepest desires of my heart, my soul's passions. And so I went about finishing Cosmic Connections. It's now available for sale. And one of the first strangers to purchase my book was named Petra. I had been folding laundry one afternoon and I heard another disembodied voice saying, "You're receiving an email. Make an appointment." I had not received any emails yet. I checked my notifications, but I had been desiring to make those cosmic connections with others. I even put my contact information in the front cover so that if you want to email me about your star connections, you can. So I was looking forward to receiving those types of emails. And by the time I finished hanging up my last clean shirt, I received one. And it went just like this. "Jody, there is a particular situation that occurred to me last year, and I'm trying to find out why. I'm afraid if it happens again in public, I might be recorded and sent to the government lab for research." Well, this sounded like a mystical quest. As Petra shared her story, I probed for her birth date and date of the situation. I listened as she recounted an experience from the first week of January last year. Her spiritual journey had led her to using a pendulum and channeling healing energy to her father, who was slowly dying. Petra had been caring for him for quite a while, and that day was demonstrating to her sister a healing technique using the swinging of the crystal pendulum to move the energy around them. Suddenly, Petra's physical body began to glow with an emerald green light. She and her sister were astonished as they looked at her body, feeling the presence of her higher self throughout her body as a healing earth angel. A few moments passed as the green mystical energy surged through her arms and hands and fingernails and the circling crystal stone on the chain, and then it was gone. On the day of her green glow in January, the sun was at the midpoint of Capricorn. And when I cast Petra's chart with the transiting planets of that event, it was clear that the sun was perfectly aligned to Petra's rising sign. The ascendant, or the rising sign, in our chart speaks about our motivations or our purpose, our most treasured purpose in this lifetime. And the star systems that are aligned to your rising sign act as a witness throughout your life. And they are also potentially tied to future lifetimes as well. If at the moment of your birth, your parents had taken you outdoors and held your little squirming body up to the east, they would have been presenting you to the star nations that are bound to witness your life and help direct you towards your soul's treasure in this lifetime. And Petra's ascendant is perfectly aligned to the beautiful and bright star, Vega. Vega really is one of the most luminous and beautiful stars in our sun's neighborhood, and was once one of the Earth's pole stars, and it will be once again many years from now. Vega is found in the beautiful parallelogram-shaped constellation of Lyra, depicted as a musical harp. Vega is often associated with music, harmony, and beauty, and its mythological origins trace back to the lyre of Orpheus and Hermes, whose music could charm all living things and even inanimate objects. This alpha star sparkles and twinkles bluish, purplish white, and Vega is a Bohemian star with the magical connotations of healing and understanding. Known as the physician's star, the light from this magnificent being can aid us in cultivating our own bodily health and the health of our planet. Because of its long-standing presence as a magical star, it even has its own magical glyph that can be used in creating healing charms and prayers for well-being. The energy of Vega shining through our sun in January is meant to inspire humanity to cultivate a more compassionate approach to life. And Vega has a long history of interacting with humanity and possesses the gentle touch of a wise old healer. This celestial body symbolizes the profound interconnectedness of all things and can foster a deep awareness of our collective well-being. In Petra's case, having Vega on her ascendant meant that the qualities of this star, that's healing, wisdom, and compassion, are integral to her life's path. Vega's influence is a constant reminder for Petra to embrace her role as a healer and to approach life with a compassionate heart. This alignment also suggests that her soul's journey is one of profound interconnectedness, understanding, and nurturing of well-being of others. What this event showed her after connecting with Vega is that she doesn't need to worry about turning green and being studied in the lab, except instead she can know that her witness in this life is Vega. And the energy of Vega allowed her to see, even just for a moment, the powerful presence within her soul and her future as a healer, something she has always known since childhood. The ancients worked tirelessly to create our calendar year. They were keen observers of the heavens and understood the importance of the planetary alignments. Over time, the first calendars evolved as our ancestors noticed that the lunar and solar calendars did not always match up. The odd days between the moons often resulted in unnumbered days between Christmas and New Year's. And these unaccounted for days were spent celebrating the gifts of the past year, socializing, feasting, and making predictions about the coming year. This period of time is also known for the story of the three wise men, or magi, who followed a star that led them to the birth of the Christ. The magi were astrologers and wise men who looked to the stars for guidance, and they were aware of the new light in the sky. This new light now lives in all of us as the Christ consciousness. Traditionally, the first day of Christmas begins at midnight on the 25th and ends on January 6th with the celebration of King's Day. The 12 days of Christmas, unlike the shrill holiday song, represent a holy and spirit-led time for reflecting on the past year and looking forward to the new one. In the fall of 2023, I shared with a friend how I love the last weeks of December because I get to buy a new planner and listen to all of my favorite astrologers give their predictions in the coming year. My friend suggested that I celebrate the 12 days of Christmas with the 12 zodiac signs. This concept thrilled me. I set my intentions to embody the spirit of the wise men and follow the stars in my chart that would lead to the Christ within. Up to this point, all of my star notes regarding my treasure map were in handwritten books and scraps and post it notes. Not an ideal way to begin my new mystical quest as a wise astronomer seeking the Christ. To prepare for my mystical quest, I moved all of my treasure map data to the computer. This may seem like an easy task for some, but I had been healing in the deserts of Utah for many years, and while the sun's rays purified me, they did nothing to educate me technologically. So I embarked on a side quest to learn how to use the computer to organize my 12 days of Christmas quest, which would help me decipher my treasure map in the coming year. In the days before Christmas, as the sun was about to enter Capricorn, I began the journey that would first become my desk reference, and then the date book and planner called Cosmic Connections 2025 Star Calendar. It was during this time that I realized that the sun was conjunct my midheaven on the very day I began my very first book. The sun at 29 degrees of Sagittarius marked the significant alignment. Midheaven, also known as the MC or the medium coli, is a calculated point in your chart that holds the capacity to relate to your community at large. The midheaven is what you become and what you're known for, and this could be a career or a social status. The star systems that are aligned to your midheaven will tell you about your galactic lives that are strongly connected to your galactic soul mission on Earth. The experiences and guides within those star systems are meant to support your contribution to the world now. When the sun is aligned to this area of your chart, you may be able to hear your soul's calling even louder and have a deep knowing about your potential impact on your community. The star system that is conjunct my midheaven is the galactic center, which sits at the center of our Milky Way galaxy. The galactic center is that which our sun rotates around, and the galactic center acts as a transmitter of divine consciousness. The energetic particles of our divine being flow through our sun during the weeks before Christmas, stimulating our bodies and our minds and urging us to release old emotions, wounds, and traumas and align with higher consciousness to evolve towards greater harmony and connectivity with God, Source, within. During the 12 days of Christmas, as I was typing out the first words of my galactic notes that led to the creation of this book, were typed while embodying the spirit of the wise men and channeling the angelic energy of the galactic center. The sun, our star, is our greatest source of vitality and strength, and without the sun, there would be no life on Earth. Our star, the sun, holds vast significance, not just to our daily lives, but to our mystical quest to decipher our soul's treasure map and to attain the treasure to know thyself. When the sun is geometrically aligned to that area of the charts, it's like looking down at your ringing phone and seeing the caller ID of the one person that you were longing to speak to, but you didn't have their contact information. And now here they are calling you. As the sun travels around the center of the galaxy, it makes appointments and house calls to the stars and deep sky objects. These geometric alignments between the natal bodies allow cosmic energy to flow to the sun and then to us. The sun holds quantum knowledge of Earth and humanity, and it has been with us since our inception, transmuting and digesting the energy of the whole galaxy in a way that is palatable for us to use. Every 8 minutes, the sun pours its plasma rays, the fourth state of matter, over the entire planet, blanketing the Earth with fresh energy. This cosmic energy is naturally available to us day by day throughout the calendar year with the light of the sun. It doesn't have to be in our natal chart. We can be aware of the energy coming through and receive it. But if it is aligned in our chart, then those efforts can be profound. Sometimes it doesn't seem like we're on our mystical quest when we're caring for an ailing father. And it doesn't seem like we're on a mystical quest at all when we're diagnosing a truck engine or learning to use a computer to lay out a book. But it's when we keep those appointments with the divine, when we're intentional with our lights, that's when those clues in our treasure map begin to hum and vibrate. The stars that are aligned with our sun signify a recent past life and that wise voice inside of us. The star systems that are aligned to our sun can be celebrated and connected with on your birthday. When you open up to your birthday in Cosmic Connections Star Calendar, you will see a monthly view and a weekly view. And if you're a fan of Llewellyn's planners like I am, then this layout will look familiar to you. Each week, I highlight one of the stars and give a short commentary on the scientific facts and the gift or the energy that that star nation may be offering you on that date. There may be a star on your birthday or just right around your birthday. I usually prefer to go with the stars that are on the day after my birthday rather than the day before. But the best practice is to learn what you can about all of the stars within that week of your birthday. And by doing this, you'll be able to decipher the stars that are written on your heart, and they will lead you to the clues that lead you to your treasure. So the answer is all of these stars, but probably one will resonate the most. My birthday is on October 5th. And when you open up to my birthday, that you will see that the stars aligned with the sun each year on that day are Minerva and Minakar. The main energy coming through the light of those stars is visioning and heart opening. I instantly aligned with Minakar more, maybe partly because my mind rejects the pronunciation of Minerva, but mostly because Minakar is in the beak of the crow constellation. The heart-opening energy of Minakar uses love as a transformative force. The crow constellation, called Corvus, is known as a messenger to the gods, and unlike other birds, the crow in mythology could travel easily between the dimensions of heaven and earth and do the bidding of the gods. My Pluto and North Node are close by in the chart, making alignments to the other stars in Corvus called Algorab and Kraz. The light of Kraz, when aligned with our sun, can enhance the thought process, resulting in heightened awareness of the human body connection. This makes me more aware of my desire to inspire others with the starlight energy and to be a messenger when needed. When you open Cosmic Connections 2025 Star Calendar, you will find at the back of the book a star index at the back. This shows the date, the star name, and the energy of that star that it's offering. You can also see here's Minakar with the energy of heart opening. You can see Kraz listed here. And these other numbers are zodiacal degrees. Whether you use the tropical or the sidereal zodiac, the stars remain the same. There are 360 degrees in the zodiac, 12 sets of 30, and each month is listed with its corresponding stars, star energies, and zodiac degrees that you can use to apply to your own birth chart, or the birth chart of your loved ones. So even if you don't know all of the birth data of, say, your young children, opening Cosmic Connections 2025 Star Calendar to their birthdays may give you, as a parent, an idea of the kind of energy that may support them in years to come. The galactic journeys and lifetimes that we have lived throughout the cosmos are recorded in our natal birth charts, and they're written on our hearts. The treasure and the meaning of our charts is meant to unfold throughout our life, day by day, with the trials and the joys of life. And our mystical quests involve seeking God, but they also involve sitting in traffic and attending meetings that could have been an email. Yet still, the divine beckons us to set aside time each day to seek our treasure, to listen for the clues, to look for the clues, the signs and synchronicities, and the patterns and the promise of the rising sun all lead to our treasure. There's something so grounding about setting aside time each day in the early morning light as the sun is just waking, setting aside your electronics, not looking at your phone, and taking your star chart and seeking the wisdom and guidance of your own star chart through the transiting sun. And that's what our calendar does. This book has become an integral part of my life, and I hope that it can become a part of yours too. Today is January 14th, and the star that is most closely aligned to the sun is Denab-Okab in the constellation of Aquila, the eagle. The celestial eagle is in full flight with its wings spread open in the sky, and Denab-Okab is located in Aquila's wings, offering a powerful influence on the nervous system of both planet Earth and us. As we move through planetary shifts and intensified solar energies, the energy of Denab-Okab can help us sustain our equilibrium, our balance, and our neurological functions. This energy assists us in tackling life's obstacles. Embracing this light of Denab-Okab coming through our sun today can calm your nerves and help you harmonize with the cosmic rhythms available to us. Be soothed today with the light of Denab-Okab's energy moving through our sun and into our own bodies. Be soothed each day by harnessing this natural energy that's coming through the light of our sun. Spend time with the divine, looking for the clues to your own treasure map, to know thyself a little bit more each day. Thank you.